Hello, my name is Elaine and I am an internationally educated nurse. I am currently in the United Kingdom undergoing the process of getting to British Columbia, and I will be sharing my journey in order to help other IENs get through the process, which has been updated from 2018 when I started. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and click the notification bell for regular updates. I have not posted in a while, so welcome to the new subscribers and welcome to the returning subscribers. Thank you for your questions, your comments, your likes, and for sharing the various videos that I have posted. Today we'll be talking about the Transitional Practice Experience for internationally educated nurses. This is another part of the process. How do you get to this stage of the Transitional Practice Experience, otherwise known as a TPE? You are given two options by BCCNM. One is to undertake it as a Consolidated Clinical, or two, undertake the Transitional Practice Experience. One, continue with KPU and undertake a Consolidated Clinical. The cost for that was 2,100 Canadian dollars, and I will share another video specifically about that because this was not the option I chose. The Transitional Practice Experience evaluates the individual's current practice to ensure that they can practice safely. It's carried out under the direct supervision of a supervisor or a manager or a nurse educator or a nurse leader. Once you have completed your studies with KPU or whichever university you chose, you need to apply for your transcript. Once that has been done, you send a letter back to your contact person at BCCNM. They will then send a letter confirming they have received your transcript and also tell you what the next steps need to be in your process. You are eligible for registration as a provisional registered nurse. I will share a provisional RN video. There's one limitation. You have to remain with one employer, namely the employer providing the employee evaluation of your practice. I think it's flexible, but just to be on the safe side, this does say namely the employer. Conditions are: 1. After 250 hours of practice at one employer, you submit to BCCNM a completed employee evaluation. Of course, BCCNM have to be satisfied with that. You must write and pass the required nursing exam, which is the NCLEX. This is if you have not already done this. Number 3, you will no longer be eligible for provisional registration if you do not pass the required exam after the NCLEX after 2 attempts. And you will no longer be eligible for provisional registration if conditions are not met within 1 year of the date the provisional registration was granted. So I activated my registration in May, hence why I am pushing to get all of this done, so that as I get closer to May 2024, then I will be in a much more comfortable position versus pushing to get that done. Before I could activate my provisional registration, I needed to do a consent for a criminal record check. I was sent a form, completed the form, paid the fees, and then I had to also pay the registration fee. So once you've activated the provisional registration, it is your job to find an employer who is willing to provide this TPE for you. You have to state that in your resume that you need 250 hours of practice and an evaluation at the end. Not all employers are familiar with this new step. Most of the managers are familiar with the old process where you go through KPU or the university to provide the Consolidated Clinical. There is a part in the letter that mentioned that you do not have to activate your provisional registration until you find employment. However, from what I have found, you can delay that a bit, but once a recruiter from within any of the hospitals contact you, the first thing they ask you is, do you have registration with BCCNM? Also, applying for jobs, you find that they do ask if you have registration and what's your registration number. All of my communication with BCCNM, I was given a registration number, and that is the same number that is the provisional registration number. You could say no, you don't have registration, and pop that number in the box. The evaluation information for health employers. Once the provisional RN has completed the 250 hours of practice, then the employee evaluation form must be completed by that supervisor or the manager or the nurse educator or the nurse leader. The evaluation assesses the nurse's ability to provide safe, competent, and ethical care. And the employer is looking at, are you able to provide safe care? Are you competent at what you're doing? And are you following ethical aspects of nursing? The employer is also looking to see if you have knowledge of the nursing scope and competence, and that person, as mentioned, have to directly observe you in practice. So basically you're working and that person is observing what you're doing. And also, once that form is completed, it's the employer's, I would say, and your responsibility as well, to send the completed form directly to BCCNM at the email address they provided. Something I wanted to add was, once you have found an employer that is willing to allow you to undertake the Transitional Practice Experience, you need to send their contact details to registration monitoring at BCCNM.ca. So they require name and address of the hospital. You need to have the ward manager, plus or minus the name of the person who will be providing you the direct supervision. Before you get to the final process, you need to ensure that within this time frame that you're sorting out your NCLEX. If you have not started this process as yet, you need to get this process started. In summary, on the BCCNM website, you will have a breakdown of what I have just gone through. So once you have completed the required courses, you will be eligible for provisional registration and will be required to complete a transitional practice experience. If this was a choice you went for, the TPE will evaluate your current practice to ensure that you can practice safely within British Columbia. The requirements are that you complete 250 hours of practice with one employer. Prior to starting the TPE, you have to consent to have a criminal record check. You must be granted provisional registration by BCCNM before you start your TPE, and you must complete the TPE within 1 year of being granted provisional registration. You'll need to find your own employer for the purpose of completing the TPE. You can try Help Match, and once you've confirmed a position with the employer, you provide the name of the manager and contact information to the registration monitoring consultant at registration monitoring at bccnm.ca. Once you have completed the 250 hours of practice, a representative of your employer, be it a supervisor, manager, nurse, educator, or nurse leader, who has observed you during your practice, they can complete and send off your evaluation form back to BCCNM. Hope you have found this video informative, and I hope you are getting closer to this stage. If you have gone through this stage already, then you can share your experience as we undertake this aspect of the journey. Stay tuned for our next video, which will probably be on the Consolidated Clinical, and that will be a very short video, or the Provisional Registration, how to get Provisional Registration, and followed by the NCLEX journey. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for further updates. Thank you.